know, we're doing this project with our heritage countries, and I spent a month in Oaxaca this summer. So this food I'm going to focus on, even though it's not actually my heritage. I'm going to make a tamale, chicken and mole negro. And tamales are a very old food that has been around what is known as Mexico since at least 5,000 BC, possibly 7,000 BC. And they're all over Mexico still today with some slight differences. Okay? So first, for a Oaxacan tamale, we're going to use pork fat. And we call this lard, right, in the U.S., but it doesn't look nearly the same. It's a lot wetter, and it's darker. And this is actually fresh, right from the butcher. Just going to whisk it a little bit. And then we're going to add masa. And masa is a corn dough that is older than tamales. Today, tamales are made from masa, but the number one food made out of masa is tortillas. I mean, you can't have tortillas without masa. So masa is definitely, again, from this region. Now the pork fat, that was introduced when the Spanish came over. So they didn't herd pigs, and the Spanish did. So the Spanish brought their pigs over and introduced them to the Mexican cooking. So even though tamales are a very, very Mexican and old traditional dish, the pork has definitely changed it. So we're going to keep adding more until we get a nice thicker consistency, just really a wet masa. It's starting to look good. It's getting thick, but it's still wet enough to spread in our corn husks for the tamales. Now this is mole negro, and this is a paste. Different recipes, like any family recipe, there are going to be some slight differences. But mole negro always has chilies and chocolate in it. Some people put some sweet plantains in there, and there's quite a variety of differences other than that, but always chilies and always the chocolate. Now we're going to soften this up. We want it to be about the consistency of a cream soup. So we're going to add a chicken broth to it. And, yeah, nothing better than peppers and chocolate. And I'm thinking just a little bit thinner. This doesn't quite look like cream soup to me. This is just a little bit too thick, I think, still. But I want to be careful not to make it too thin either, because we're going to put it in the tamales, and ultimately they're going to be steamed, and we want that filling to stay in there. All right, so it's just boiling right now, and we're going to turn it down just a little bit and let it cook for about 5 minutes. All right. Now, usually, Oaxacan tamales that are made with mole negro are wrapped in banana leaves. Banana leaves, avocado leaves, and corn husks, that's what we have right here, are the most common right now. But originally, they were wrapped in all sorts of leaves, anything that was not poisonous, not toxic. They were wrapped in bark and paper as well. And of course, when you eat a tamale, you always unwrap it. So, and tamales are not, or were not, always made with the corn dough either. They weren't always made with masa. Sometimes they were made with beans or just meat. More recently, they're throwing in more vegetables. The chicken I just boiled with onions and garlic and some pepper. And I brought it to a boil, and then I lowered the heat, and I let it simmer until the meat was almost just falling off the bone. It was really easy for me to take off and shred. Cut up this last bit here. And shredding, you just tear off the bone. I wait until the chicken cools down a little bit, but I've seen, women just dig right in and start tearing it apart, but I'm not that tough. So this just goes right into the mole. Stir it. Coat everything. See, look how nice that looks. It's really a beautiful brown color. Great consistency. That's beautiful. Okay, so we have our filling ready. We have the masa ready. And now we're going to start forming our tamales in the husk. This is much wetter than you would use. The original dough that I had before I mixed it up with the fat is what you would use for tortillas. So this is a lot wetter than a tortilla dough. Okay, so I think that should be probably more than enough. And I just want to put it down here towards the thickest part of the husk. And I'm going to just spread it from side to side. And I don't want to spread it down all the way to the tip because I'm going to fold that over to help keep all the goodness in, all our wonderful mole negro. Okay, I think that looks all right. Now you have to remember, this is my first time making these, so cross your fingers, whatever you might believe in. And then we're just going to put a little bit of our chicken with the mole negro on there. And we want to be careful not to fill it too much, because if you do, it's just not going to work, right? So what we want to do is we want to roll it over. Okay. See, I think I may have put in too much. So roll it over. Okay. And then we're going to just flip this up. And there you go. There's one. One tamale. So I hope these turn out. That's good. Yeah, I think this one's going to work well. I'm going all the way over the filling and around, and then on the same side as the seam, I'm going to fold it up. There we go, two. And again, you'd be probably using a wooden spoon, not a metal spoon. I don't know what kind of difference it's going to make, but I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I think 5 is going to be a thing. And I don't think we could get another row on there. I know I've seen them just really packed in, but yeah, we're going to start out with a single row, see how it works out, and go from there. Not so sure about that. I don't feel so confident about the masa, but I said what? And I saw an example. All right, there you go. Oh my gosh, I hope this will turn out. Okay, so the tamales have been in the steamer for about 40 minutes, I think. And I'm just going to check and see if they've sort of puffed up a little bit and see if they're ready to remove. It seems like some of them are a little bigger in here. Yeah. Chopsticks would be excellent at this. It still feels a little doughy to me, I don't know. But it's definitely bouncing back, so that's a good sign. So yeah, maybe that's it. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna just let them sit for maybe 15, 20 minutes. So they're still warm, but it's not gonna, yeah, hurt going down. Alright, that looks nice. So what we did today, we made tamales according to what they do here in Oaxaca. And we saw a combination of the indigenous food products and what the Spaniards brought over with the pigs. And this ends up being a combination of history. It really shows some history of the country, but it also shows a specific flavor of Oaxaca with the mole negro, which is really important. Each region in Mexico has their specific or unique flavors and how they like to eat tamales and other types of food as well based on where they're located. So yeah, that's it. We're going to eat some tamales and move on.